GoPro, we're really positioning ourselves to not only be a production company, but we want to enable people to tell stories easily.
And mounting cameras and doing it legally is a big question. And that's always been the big question. Is this a major alteration or is this a minor alteration?
I'm going to use that when I go home. That's
Perfect.
Really great.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick Tarasio here with Green Crews of GoPro. So Green, what are you really excited about right now?
Man, we just released the latest software for the firmware for our Hero 5 lineup and the latest software for mobile devices that includes a new feature called Quick Stories that allows you with one easy tap to create an edit. So you can go from capturing whatever you're passionate about, in this case aviation here at EAA, straight to telling a story. GoPro, we're really positioning ourselves to not only be a production company, so we're not just producing the product, like the camera and the accessories, but we want to enable people to tell stories easily. So that's what Quick Stories is all about.
Very cool. And how have you guys just taken over aviation? I mean, it's like from the moment GoPro came out, I mean, it's just completely changed the way people relate to flight.
Small wind resistance. No, I'm kidding. But
no one wants to slow their plane down.
Exactly. But the truth is, we really wanted a product that allows someone to not live behind the lens. So not have to focus on the camera. So we've created an approach that's very hands-off. So obviously you got to be piloting your plane, and here we got a lot of private pilots that are not piloting huge planes, so it's perfect for them.
What do you see as the future of these small camera systems? Like if we go 5 or 10 years out, what's going to change? Does GoPro have any vision to the future?
Well, we've teased a little bit about a new product called Fusion. It's our spherical capture device. It's really awesome. It's VR with the GoPro experience, but so much more than that. You can actually use it as a regular camera. That's all I can tell you so far, but I think that in the future we're going to see not only easier storytelling capabilities like today with our launch with Quick Stories, but also an easier way to mount and capture.
Well, one of the challenges I see for pilots is not knowing what we can and can't do. And I'm not sure if you would know anything about that, but you know, the regulations of, you know, we want to load a bunch of cameras onto the airplanes. Do you know anything about that space, about how people can get around that?
There's actually a group called NFLIGHTCAM that can actually answer all of those questions for you and can tell you very specifically what you can and cannot do.
Awesome, Green. Thanks so much for speaking with us.
Pleasure, man. Have a good one.
Let's talk about some legality of camera mounts. I think that's a big question. We actually just started a YouTube channel recently. We've been putting stuff on our airplane, and we're really curious to know, how does this work? How do pilots know if they're legal or not?
Absolutely. So I come from a A&P IA background. I'm an A&P IA, also a pilot, have been for the last 15 years. And mounting cameras and doing it legally is a big question. In March of 2014, the FAA issued a memo stating that camera mounts can be considered a minor alteration. That's always been the big question. Is this a major alteration or is this a minor alteration? And how do we determine that? And what this memo does is help clarify that. And it tells us that a camera mount is a minor alteration. And what that means is that an A&P can sign off a camera mount as long as that A&P determines that the mount does not adversely affect structural integrity, aerodynamics, or weight and balance. So if the A&P can determine that, they can then mount the camera. We supply some camera mounts that make that really easy. For $80, we supply our ball head mount that's all metal. It's a stainless steel base with an aluminum fork. All metal is a big deal to us. In cold weather, plastic gets brittle and cracks, and it'll also wear out in the sun, and it's just not as reliable as an all metal mount. So this mount mounts anywhere you have a screw. The base comes off, and you can take any machine screw out of the airplane, number 6, 8, or 10, mount this base, mount this on top, and then you have a camera mount on your aircraft anywhere you have a screw. This mount is rated up to 250 knots, and it's designed specifically for aircraft. This is for lift struts or any aerodynamic tubing, and this incorporates our ball head mount that goes anywhere you have a screw. So you get 2 for 1 on this. This is $150. It's quick and easy to mount because we have a rubber strap that goes around your strut, clamps down. This rubber strap is heavy-duty polyurethane that we've bought from a company that builds these and has built them for the last 30 years for the outdoor industry. So they're like snowshoe straps, backcountry ski gear, UV resistant. You could probably lift your airplane with this strap. The cool thing about this mount too is that it adjusts to fit anything from a Cub to a Caravan because the front of the clamp adjusts in size. So this is another great way to get the camera on the airplane, and if you have an A&P sign it off, you're doing it in a legal way. because you're signing it off as a minor alteration.
So technically any pilot that goes out and mounts it on themselves, even if they mount one of these, they can't do it without an A&P sign-off?
That's correct, if it's permanently attached to the aircraft. The question is, and Flying Magazine just wrote an article on this, is it legal to mount a camera with a suction cup? And the answer is actually yes. However, if that suction cup falls off, it becomes the pilot's responsibility. If that were to hit something on the ground, that's the pilot's responsibility, and the FAA will violate you for that because it's careless and reckless operation of your aircraft. What happens is, as we climb, the air pressure changes.
Yeah.
A suction cup's principle of operation is air pressure, so if we change that air pressure, we lose the suction cup. It's just a bad idea. So I am adamantly against using suction cups outside of aircraft because I consider it careless. The next question I get all the time is, well, should I put a lanyard on my camera? My answer to that is absolutely not. Do you want to
destroy
exactly? Do you want to turn a $500 camera into a wrecking ball on your $500,000 airplane? Usually the answer is no. That's why we make these mounts. We've made thousands of them. They don't fail. They're up to 250 knots.
Is there something you can recommend? So again, like this airplane that's behind us has some screws on the tip lens, right? So it's pretty easy to put the ball mount on something like that. What happens when you don't have any screws available? Like what have you seen of all the options if someone has to do something, or no one has to put a camera on their plane, but if they really wanted to? In the case where you don't have the ability to put screws or a strut mount, what else have you seen work well?
Paul Bertorelli published a video on how to mount cameras. It wasn't specific to our products, it was just any products out there. I got a great idea from him on how to do it on an aircraft where you don't have screws, a composite airplane, say a Lancer or something along those lines. And one of his solutions I really like. You take a piece of sheet metal about 8 to 12 inches in diameter, you put a hole in it, and these spuds, the base of this is threaded. So you can put a countersunk screw through that piece of sheet metal and make yourself a plate that this is attached to. And then you can take gaffer's tape and tape that down to the surface, and that'll make a solid mount. At 300 miles an hour with a GoPro, you have about 20 pounds of force of drag on this that's trying to pull it off. And in Paul's video, he does a pull test to show that it'll withstand that. I've used that method, and I really like it.
I'm going to use that when I go home. That's
Perfect.
really great.
Yeah.
Really great. Well, thank you so much, and we're actually going to buy a couple of these too. So
okay.
We really
cool.
appreciate the insights.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to learn more about what we talked about, you can check out all the links in our description. We'll have more videos coming out soon, so stay tuned.